Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamanatera Vanachari. Jamanatera Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Vrindavan Chanda Radha Vrindavan Chanda Radha. Jaya Radha Vrindavan Chanda Radha Vrindavan Chanda Radha. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Nitai Gariba, Hariba, Hariba, Hariba. Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraja Acharya Asto Tathata Srimad Divine Grace ISKCON Acharya Srila Abhacharya Vinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaja Ki Jai Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraja Acharya Asto Tathata Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Prabhupada Maharaja Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavina Ki Jai ISKCON Guru Vrinda Ki Jai Ganga Maya Manamaya Ki Jai Srimati Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi Haribo. All glory is to the Saman devotees, all glory to Saman devotees, all glory to Saman devotees, all glory is all glory to Gauranga Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Naram Cheva Devim Saraswatim Vyasa Tato Jaya Mudiret Nista Payusabhadisu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavaitina Istike. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 16, Text 37. Title of the chapter is Jaya and Vijaya, cursed by the sages. Vishwasyaya stiti layodbhava hetwadyo Yogeshwarapi Durataya Yogamaya. Shemam Vidyasyati Bhagavan Chayadishas Tatas Madhya Vrimrish Sinakriya Ihataha. Visasyaya Stitulayo Baba Hetu Adyo Yogeshwarapi Duratyaya Yogamayaha. Shemam Vidyasyatisa no bhavan trayadisas. Tatas Madhya Vrimri Senakiyam Ihataha. Can someone try? So word for word translation, Vishwasya, of the universe, Yaha, who, Siti, maintenance, Laya, destruction, Udbhava, creation, Hetu, the cause, Adyaha, the most ancient person, Yoga Ishvare, by the masters of yoga, Api, even, Duratya, cannot be easily understood. Yoga Maya, his Yoga Maya potency. Shemam, good. Vidyasyati, will do. Saha, he. Naha, of us. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tri-Adi Saha, the controller of the three modes of material nature. Tatra, there. Asmadya, by our. Vimrishena, deliberation. Kiyan, what? Iha, on this plan, on this subject. Attaha, purpose. Translation and purport. By His divine grace, His compounded child, Sri Bhakti Vasudeva Swami Prabhupada, Kija, Srila Prabhupada, Kija, Srila Prabhupada, Kija. My dear sons, the Lord is the controller of the three modes of nature and is responsible for the creation, preservation, and dissolution of the universe. His wonderful creative power, Yoga Maya, cannot be easily understood even by the masters of yoga. That most ancient person, the personality of Godhead, will alone come to our rescue. What purpose can we serve on His behalf by deliberating on this subject? Please kindly responsibly repeat. My dear sons, the Lord is the controller of the three modes of nature and is responsible for the creation, preservation, and dissolution of the universe. His wonderful creative power, Yoga Maya, cannot be easily understood even by the masters of yoga. That most ancient person, the personality of Godhead, will alone come to our rescue. What purpose can we serve on His behalf by deliberating on this subject? Purport. When something is arranged by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one should not be disturbed by it, even if it appears to be a reverse according to one's calculations. For example, sometimes we see the powerful preacher is killed, or sometimes he is put into difficulty, just as Haridas Thakur was. He was a great devotee who came into this material world to execute the will of the Lord by preaching the Lord's glories. But Haridas was punished at the hands of the Qazi by being beaten in 22 marketplaces. Similarly, that Jesus Christ was crucified and Prahlad Maharaj was put through so many tribulations. The Pandavas, who were direct friends of Krishna, lost their kingdom. Their wife was insulted, and they had to undergo many severe tribulations. Seeing all of these reverses affect devotees, one should not be disturbed. One should simply understand that in these matters, there must be some plan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Bhagavatam's conclusion is that a devotee is never disturbed by such reverses. He accepts even reverse conditions as the grace of the Lord. One who continues to serve the Lord even in reverse conditions is assured that he will go back to Godhead, back to the Vaikuntha planets. Lord Brahma assured the demigods that there was no use in talking about how the disturbing situation of darkness was taking place, since the actual fact was that it was ordered by the Supreme Lord. Brahma knew this because he was a great devotee. It was possible for him to understand the plan of the Lord. Om Khyana Timirandasya Gnanazana Salakaya Saksuda Malitam Jena Tasmai Si Gurube Namaha Sachetaya Manobistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Karamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam. Vandasi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Vandasi Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodita Godadai Puspa 1-2 Chita Chanda Tamanda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasari Sri Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bisa Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Itnam Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane Nirvisesa Sangha Badi Pasatana Disatana Vancha Kalpatari Vyacha Kripasana Vyaya Vacha Patitanam Pavanam Vaishnava Yo Namo. So welcome everyone to this segment of our morning program. Sharing and caring in Krishna consciousness, listening to some sastric, sastric breaking news. People like breaking news, right? This is a real breaking news. So Prabhupada is giving the purport. How devotees have suffered a lot in the past. You want to become a devotee of Krishna, be prepared to suffer. One could say, what? I'm coming to God, I'm coming to Krishna to be relieved of my sufferings. Why should I be prepared to suffer? This is where people get it wrong. Sometimes we think we're coming to Krishna consciousness, we're tired of the suffering there, the ups and downs. Coming to Krishna, I want to be peaceful. Good for you. So Prabhupada has given us some clear examples in the purport. How even Haridas Thakur, he was the Namacharya. He could chant Krishna's name 300,000 times. But just an exalted devotee was put into difficulties. The Kazi ordered his men to beat him to 22 marketplaces. This is not long ago, just when Lord Chaitanya was on the planet, just a little bit more than 500 years ago. And we have seen even our own founder Acharya, Prabhupada, when he was up, his principals ordered him to go and preach Krishna consciousness, spread the message of Lord Krishna in English language, in the Western countries. An elderly person, at the time he left India to come to the West, that was beyond the time for retirement in America. America, you're entitled to retirement when you're 65. You work in the government, you work for the government 65 years. You retire. You go and, sit back and take your retirement benefits. But that was the time Prabhupada's own work started. You know, people the time people retire was when he started his work. At an old age. But even starting his work, even being asked by the spiritual master to come to the West to preach, it was not juicy. It wasn't like a paneer cake. It wasn't a gulab jamun. He suffered heart attacks aboard Jaladuta. He didn't come to America by airplane. Is there any person who came by ship to America from India? All of you. Anybody? No, all of you came by airplanes. And Prabhupada came in through a boat, steamship, Jaladuta, and he suffered heart attacks aboard the steamship. Almost died. He could give it up and say, what? I'm trying to execute my spiritual master's order, and Krishna, you cannot protect me? Yeah, he has the right to say so. But no, the pure devotee understands. The challenges that he faces are just meant to clear up the way for greater achievements, greater accomplishments. Nothing good comes easy. Even materially speaking, you are striving to achieve high goals, people suffer like anything. If you want to be a celebrity, you will rehearse, sometimes no sleeping. You rehearse overnight, day after day. There is nothing that comes easy. Nothing good really comes easy. So we want to attain pure love for Krishna and become decarcerated from the entanglements of repeated birth and death. It's not going to be so juicy. If you want to be on the surface, it's a different thing. But we're going to go into the bottle of the honey, it's not going to be easy. You want to go into the honeycomb, it's not going to be easy. You want to go and harvest the honey, it's not going to be easy. you find somebody who ever harvested honey and they tell you it's easy? No. And therefore, Papa gives us vivid examples how even the devotees of the Lord, they suffer. But if even they suffer, they are undeterred. They are not jaded by suffering because they know it is meant for clearing up the way for higher achievements. You tell me one person who is the high achiever who had it easy to go to the apex of his profession. Nobody. Nobody. And what could be a higher achievement than attaining Krishna consciousness? There's nothing you do in this world, nothing at all, that will give you the boons of perfection in Krishna consciousness. For instance, if you become pure, become a Paramahamsa, 21 generations before you and after you in your family become liberated. If even you're a Bill Gates, if even you're the richest man on this planet, not one person in your family will become liberated when you die. Not one person. Not even you. But just by becoming a pure devotee, you can attain all of these facilities. You're given all this boon. And not only the devotee, not only the practitioner, even those who are yet to be born in their families.
You think people are stupid to take to Krishna consciousness, to give their life to Krishna? They know, they understand the benefit. They understand the benefits. Oh yeah. Why do you think that scientist, Bhakti Swarup Damodar, he finished his PhD, scientist, he gave his whole life to Krishna, to Prabhupada? He's stupid? He's not stupid. He has a higher understanding. Yes. So sometimes people think those who take to Krishna consciousness, they don't have anything to do with their lives. I remember, I was in India recently, and I went to some conferences. And so one of the presentations, when I went for this presentation, there was the question and answer. One professor, he asked me, because my professional name is Dr. Das. So he asked me a question, because he understood I'm also a professional in management science. So he said, Dr. Das, so you are a high-profile scholar. You have over 35 publications in peer-reviewed journals. And all that you could do is to become a Swami? He asked me this. So, and I know what my people pass through. I know what the scholars pass through. I know even some of my friends, they have 3 PhDs and they are not happy with their lives. So I asked him, Professor such and such, are you happy with your life? There was no response. So sometimes people miscue what life is, what is the ultimate purpose of life, what is the ultimate goal of life, and we pursue different things at the same time, and we struggle so much without bridging the gap in our lives. We always have a gap in our lives. We always have a lacuna in our lives, in as much as we are not Krishna conscious. And therefore, forget about the fact that, even the pure devotees, they're being put into difficulties. Yes, everyone has to undergo some challenges in this world. Even the child undergoes some challenges. The child is put in the womb for 9 months. He's locked up in the womb he's a prisoner for 9 months, a jail bed for 9 months. In America, if even they put you are jailed for one day, you are an ex-convict. Oh yeah. So far the judge, gives his verdict. Imprisonment for 1 day, 24 hours. It's on record, perhaps for the rest of your life, that you're an ex-convict. So we are masquerading here and there, and we forget that we are all ex-convicts. And we should rectify our lives. We should rectify ourselves. And some of us don't really care. And so we can rationalize that. Okay, even in the Bhagavatam is mentioned, even the founder channel of ISKCON, he said in one of his purport, even the pure devotees himself, he gave names. Haridas, Jesus, all these people, they suffered. So why should I become a devotee? Why should I practice Krishna consciousness if I have to suffer? Okay, do you tell me one person out there who is not a devotee, who is not suffering, who is not subject to old age, disease, and death? The same suffering, but the devotee embraces it with high understanding, with joy, comprehending the fact that this is for my purification, to expedite my journey out of this material mess. And therefore it is important for us to know that the statement of Lord Brahma here is very pertinent to even our own lives. What can we understand? Lord Brahma is addressing the host of demigods. They want to know. See, Jaya and Vijay cause Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha, they wreaked so much havoc. Days is turning to darkness. We will not be afraid of that. So they have come to meet Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma is consoling them. You don't worry, the Lord will come to our rescue. The guys who are wreaking this havoc, I cannot deal with them, you cannot deal with them, you cannot conquer them. They are special demons. Why they are special? Because they are Jaya and Vijaya. They're from the spiritual world. So, even the demigods, they were confused, not to speak of we ordinary mortals. At some point in time, we will be confused in our lives. And therefore, it is important that we have someone to guide us. Like even the demigods, they are guided by Lord Brahma. We need a spiritual master to guide us. Even ordinary materially speaking, even in decision making, we make wrong decisions all the time. And then later we regret. In most cases, we don't consult decision scientists to help us to shaping our decision making. We just whimsically make decisions. And then we meet with a brick wall, and then we start regretting. Even the demigods, they are walking, they are serving under the instructions, under the guidance of Lord Brahma. Even the demigods. Can you imagine? People who are in charge of different ministries in the universe, they are under the guidance of somebody. And for us, nobody knows us. Maybe in our family, that's it. These demigods, they are not. Indra is in charge of rain and thunder and all this stuff. Vayu is in charge of the wind. These are universal ministers, but they still walk under the guidance of somebody. And we feel, I don't need any person's guide. So, Lord Brahma, the demigods are confused about the disturbances in the universe being wrecked by Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha. And so, just like the demigods are confused, we also will be confused at some point in time in our lives. And we need to consult, we need to get some clarification of all our ambiguities from our superior spiritualists, from the spiritual master. Just like the demigods, they become confused and they seek for guidance. Let's understand simple things. Sometimes because some certain things happen, and then we want to throw away the baby with the bath water. This is completely crazy. You try to throw away your baby with your bath water? And it's not just Lord Brahma's making. Lord Krishna mentions in the Gita, Tad vidi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upagdeshyantite jnana jnanina tattvadashina. We have to take shelter of a tattvadashi. Because at any time in our lives, we could hit the brick wall. We could be confused. We may not know what to do. Even professionally speaking, we may not know what to do. And so guidance is very important. And Papa also mentioned about the Pandavas. They were great devotees. They were Krishna's cousins. Krishna was more or less like, he sleeps with them. Krishna sleeps with the Pandavas. They hang out together. Can you imagine? Can someone even think they could have problems? Krishna was their messenger. You know, Krishna will go back and forth, go to meet the Kurus, give back feedback before the war. Krishna was also their messenger. But they were in the material world, and so they had problems. This is just a simple thing. You can be so close. You can even be the pujari. And you think you don't have problems? No. The Pandavas had problems. Haridas Thakur, he would chant 300,000 names of Krishna. He was confronted with challenges. Challenges are part of the defaults of material existence. This world is characterized by challenges, epitomized by death, old age, and disease. Who will say, no disease can catch me? Rather, people know what they are doing is going to cause them trouble, and they do it anyway. I remember one professor, she was trying to get me to come to the conference in Cambridge. And so, later part, I was sure that I was not going to go to that conference, but I didn't want to just, tell them that, because my paper was accepted. But I didn't want to just tell them that, no, I'm not coming. So then I was playing along that I wanted to create some relationship with these organizers. So I was chatting with this professor, and I got to understand that she smokes chimney, smokes in chains, a woman. That, in chain. So one day we were discussing, I said, Dr. Such and such, can you do one thing for me? She said, oh, tell me, I'll do anything for you. I said, can you give up smoking for me? She said, no, I can't give up smoking for anybody. But you just said you can do anything for me. Come on. So I asked her, but do you know that the smoking can cause you cardiovascular diseases, cancer, whatever? She said, I know. That's why I go for medical checkup every year. Yeah? So the point is, somebody may know this is going to cause me harm. They do it anyway. Pashyana pina pashyati. Even after seeing the result, the consequences from some of the outcome, even after hearing, after knowing, no, these things alone don't restrain us, don't serve as deterrent for us getting into trouble. This is the nature of the material world. Every step we take could lead us into some horrible, dangerous situation. Lead to dangerous consequences. Is it the material world you want to invest all your hopes in? You make an investment where you know you're going to reap, high dividends. But the highest dividend you can get in this material world is death. Oh yeah? That is the highest dividend you can get. Go and invest in everything. That is the highest thing. We're not saying don't invest, but also bridge the gap. There is a gap in our lives. And what is that gap? The devotional bankruptcy. That is the gap in our lives. Devotional bankruptcy. So we can bridge that gap by practicing Krishna consciousness. And once you practice Krishna consciousness, you can do whatever you are doing. You go on with the investment. You'll be protected. As far as your investments are ethical. Because even in professionalism, we have professional ethics. And so the world is also governed by some ethics. There are rules governing this universe. And if we go against those rules, we could land into hot water. We can bathe hot water, but not, warm water, but not hot water. Because hot water, you put your hand, it burns you. And bathing hot water, it will peel your skin completely. So it's a dangerous game. But that's what we try to do most of the times. We don't care about the universal injunctions, the universal rules. Because no one is policing us. No one comes to police us. And therefore, this is a completely inappropriate thinking, self-deception. And if we understand that people suffer in this world, no matter your status, you can become the richest man on this planet, you still have to suffer, you have to die. Therefore, we should think about what to do to remedy this situation. Then there is something to do. Prabhupada has given us the strategy on what to apply and how to apply this strategy and become, extricated from this so-called circle of repeated birth and death, where you don't know you don't know where you're going, what you're doing. It seems good, but the end result may be something bad. So if even we are on the highway, we could run into an accident. You may be very careful, but someone comes from the back to hit you. Boom. And so this is the nature of this world. We are in this material world. We are bound to undergo some negative changes. Disease is a negative change. Old age is a negative change. Nobody, if you have a store, a mall, an old age mall, or disease mall, you hardly get customers. You get customers? So, we are being told here that if even we are devotees, we could encounter challenges. Because even Prahlad, just a perfected soul, a great devotee, he was 24 hours Krishna conscious. He was always chanting Krishna's name. But he encountered challenges. But he didn't give up. Because he knows that those challenges are meant to purify him. So I remember there is this a scenario in the Brihan Narasimha Purana, which is also quoted in the one of these Goswami books. Hari what do you call? Yeah, Hari Bhakti Vilas, in chapter 418. So Prahlad, he was also wondering how he got all these problems, and he was so focused on Vishnu. So when Sringadev eventually met Sringadev, they were discussing, and he asked Sringadev that, "My Lord, tell me, how did I come to develop this type of devotion for you?" Because people have problems, and they sometimes they back out. Okay, my father is trying to kill me for this. If I don't stop, he may kill me. So let me just stop and align with my father's ideas. But he was so focused. So he asked Sringadev, "But how did I acquire this type of fixated devotion for you?" And then Sringadev replied and explained to him that in his previous life he had performed some austerities on Chaturdasi, appearance of Lord Sringadev. He told Prahlad that his name in the previous life was Vasudev. He was born in Brahmin family. His father was very, very Brahmanically cultured. He has other brothers, but he, Vasudev, the previous life, he got attracted to some prostitute. So he fell down from his Brahmanical culture. And on Sringa Chaturdasi day, he met with his girlfriend, and some conflict erupted. So when people who love each other, when they fight, none of them likes it. But because of ego, nobody will say, I'm sorry. They just continue with the fight. So they continue. Similar thing happened, you know. Similar thing happened with Vasudeva and his girlfriend, and they fought all through the night. They didn't enjoy. And they didn't even eat the whole day at night. So the meeting was like, it wasn't so juicy. But it paid off. Involuntary austerity. Look, this is involuntary austerity. They didn't eat that day. They didn't sleep also throughout the night because of the fighting. And that day was Nrsimha Chaturdasi. This is documented in Brihan Nrsimha Purana, quoted in the Hari Bhakti Vilas 418. So, they explained to him that this was the situation because he fasted on Chaturdasi. So, in this very present life, he had this opportunity to be able to become so much focused, so much dedicated on the worship of the Lord. So for us, traditionally, it's recommended that devotees will fast on Nrsimha Chaturdasi, then the fasting is till dusk. And I wonder whether some of the devotees are able to do this. But this is the background of Prahlad's devotion. This is the background. So if we don't want to go back to God in this lifetime, we so much like the material world, we can fast on this day. Sometimes you tell people about going back to God, and you say, I'm fine here. I'm cool. It's cool here. I'm fine. If you're fine, no problem. But if you're not fine, this is one thing to do. Next Chaturdasi, plan for it and fast. Any comments or questions? Okay.
So, thank you so much for your class, Maharaj. So then it seems like the conception of getting away from pain is not the real goal.
Getting away from where?
I'm sorry?
Getting away from?
Pain. It seems like the goal is not to get away from pain because that's what everybody's trying to do, get away from pain. So maybe the goal is something like maybe we have a misconception about pain. Maybe the pain that those devotees went through was not suffering, but it was painful. But it brought something out of their heart. Is our love and pain connected?
If one suffers on behalf of Krishna, it's juicy. If one suffers on behalf of Krishna, I remember one of our devotees, he was shot in the leg in Mayapur. Because bandits came to the temple and he fought them. And they shot him. A white devotee. You know who knows his name? Huh?
Bhakti Vasudeva Swami.
Yeah, Bhakti Vasudeva Swami. So, if you suffer for Krishna, it's very juicy. But if you suffer for the purpose of sense gratification, it's not worth it. Devotees are suffering, to wake up 3 o'clock every day. If you bring someone out there to come and stay in the temple for 1 weekend, I don't know what, but when we join, the bell goes off at 3 o'clock. and everybody must wake up. So, it's like, what the hell is this? This is suffering. For me, for me, it's not suffering, because even in high school, 13 years old, I was away from home in high school, boarding house, and we go to bed at 9:30. It's a missionary school. We go to bed at 9:30, wake up at 4 o'clock to go and read. And only to have a short break for sleep or siesta at about just after afternoon meal. So when I came to Christian consciousness and I saw the routine, I thought, this is nothing. Come on. I did this when I was in high school. So someone may say, suffering is relative, as a matter of fact. What someone thinks is suffering is nothing to some other person. I remember also, when I was a teenager, I was going to some spiritual church, and so sometimes you have some challenges at school or health challenges, and then the priest says, oh, you fast 3 days. Nijala, okay, as a teenager, I used to fast Nijala for 3 days. So when I came to Krishna consciousness, I saw all this Ekadasi fasting at the temple where I joined. I was the only person who was fasting on Ekadasi in initial time. Because I came from a fasting background, so all these things were like, this is nothing. Just so what may be pain for someone may not be pain for another person. Because what terminology pain, material world, everything seems to be relative. But experiences we pass through in our endeavor to please Krishna, to serve Krishna, they may be challenging to our bodies and to the mind, but we should understand that this is pleasing to Krishna, pleasing to Prabhupada, and we should sustain those practices because they will help to expedite our purification. So the real goal is to attain Krishna Prema Pumato Mana. Everything else we are doing in devotional service is to facilitate the attainment of this goal. And the chanting is the beginning, the middle, and the end. And sometimes we see some devotees, they get busy, so busy that they don't have time to chant the 16 rounds. The vow they took before the spiritual master, before the devotees, before the deities, before the devatas. So we should not get too busy that we are not able to chant, because that is counterproductive to the accomplishment of the ultimate goal of our participation in Krishna consciousness. We are supposed to be addicted to Krishna, Krishna's holy names. That is the goal in Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, we are supposed to be addicted to Krishna's holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If other activities are distracting us, are obstructing us from at least giving 2 hours to Krishna out of our 24 hours, that's not very good. That should be a concerning pain to the heart, and we should rectify it. Aribo, yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you again for a lovely class. I have many questions, but I'll start with just one.
Okay. You feel free to ask your questions, okay? Except that 9 o'clock we will stop.
It's not. So.
Yes, Bolo.
I'll start with this question about austerities and then maybe reversals. This is always something that I have a difficulty reconciling in my mind, because I seem to hear opposing things, right? So this idea of doing austerities for Krishna, suffering for Krishna, to make advancements, like it's part of the practice. For example, fasting.
Okay.
But like there's different levels of fasting.
Fasting is just only an Ekadasi, and not, there are different levels of fasting. Yes, like you said.
So like there's different levels of fasting. The quantity of reading that you put into your day, the quality of your chanting, how quality your chanting can be. So there's different levels of like commitment or austerity. And regularly I hear reading or in classes, you want to give, you want to do as much as you can to make advancement. Like there's sort of a benchmark for, but then at the same time I'll hear, but everybody's at a different place, and sorry guys. Everyone's at a different place. So do what you can. And I guess I'm always trying to figure out how does an individual know if they are missing their line for maximizing like their advancement. Not that it's mechanical, but like as an individual, how do I know whether I'm just saying, no, that's like enough for me, this is all I can do, versus no, I need to do more, but getting burnt out because I'm not ready to do that much.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, we should, for instance, when also the other point of this is that how can we feel comfortable with what we are doing, knowing that this is satisfying Prabhupada, or this is satisfying my spiritual master. The one way we can strategize to be able to achieve that level of self-satisfaction in terms of our devotional practice is that we should ask ourselves, are we doing the minimal thing that Prabhupada required of us? Am I chanting 16 rounds? Am I waking up to come to Mangarati? This is the standard Prabhupada set in his movement. He wants devotees to listen to classes, to go to classes. Especially Bhagavatam class is so important. Because we recite this verse, Nastra Payesu Abadisu Nitya Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloki Bhakti Bhavati Naistika. It didn't say you do today and then take a break. No holidays. Unfortunately, no holidays for this. But just like we don't have, in most cases, we don't have holidays for breathing. We breathe the air every day because we need oxygen to, sustain our lives. So the Bhagavatam or reading the Vedic literatures, that is our spiritual oxygen. The chanting, that is our spiritual oxygen. And if we are not doing these things, attending the programs like Mangarati, the Bhagavatam class, this is part of our oxygen. If we are not doing these things, we feel dry at some point in time in our Krishna consciousness. And so, how to not overstress ourselves, we should look at our bodies. Our bodies are not the same. If someone is fasting, on account that someone is fasting the whole day and night, and maybe not sleeping in the night, you don't imitate that person. Because your body, your physiological setting, your psyche, and that person's may not be the same. What that person's body can take, you may not be able to take. And therefore, there are so many levels of, even Krishna, in his instructions to Arjuna, he said, if you cannot do this, you do this. If you cannot do this, you do this. He gives options. So even in our practice, there's a minimum standard, and there are options to make advancements. So the minimum standard that we must follow the Krishna consciousness culture is a Vedic culture. Not African culture, not a British culture, not American culture, not a South American culture. Because in all these other cultures, you can do anything you want. In the Vedic culture, even the people, see, in India, I've seen a lot of places in India. I've studied in India for almost 3 years, 3 consecutive years and 7 months. And I've been to all the places and I've seen what they do, what they are. In India, even till today, in a number of communities, their girls must, if even that, I know a number of Indian girls who get through education process, attend PhD before they got married. They never had sex, never had any boyfriend. Not only in India, okay? I had a younger sister, and when she was like 10 years or 12 years, I don't remember precisely, she went ahead to meet my dad and said, "Hey Dad, I promise you one thing. No man is going to see my laps until I got married." And she did it. I was in Boston just a few years back, and one of my friends he was involved in estate agency, a rich guy. I used to go to Boston and stay with him sometimes. He had a boat at the harbor. That boat, $500,000 boat.